So I did learn a lot at Casa Esperanza. The first take-home message that I have is that adults with special needs need around-the-clock care. This seems very common sense, but I knew that they needed care around the clock, but I didn't realize how important it was. The nurses do live with them in the home, and this is because a lot of the patients there can't bathe themselves, can't go to the bathroom themselves, they can't feed themselves, so it's really important for someone to be there for them all the time, even for simple situations like readjusting yourself in your wheelchair. A lot of them can't even do that, so it's really important to make sure that the nurses are there all the time. I also learned that they're just happy that you're there. I really struggled with, when we first got there, two of the patients, one that couldn't speak. They can make noises, but they couldn't actually form words. And I really just wanted to I wanted them to participate in activities that they wanted to do. So I would just list off a bunch of things, and it would be really frustrating for me when they would say no to everything that I suggested, and then finally they would just settle for something that I said, and I would feel really man, I just want to do what they want to do, but they can't tell me what it is they want to do. But then I kind of just realized after the 2 weeks of being there that they're just really happy that you're there, hanging out with them, and they don't even care whether they like what they're doing with you or not. They're just happy to have company. Thirdly, I learned that it is important to embrace the culture of the country you're in, because you are a guest. You can't change how things are there because they're different to you. You just have to learn to adapt to the situations, and I think it's really important to learn to adapt to situations like that all the time. You also need to embrace the uncomfortable. Traveling alone is a little bit different than, traveling with friends, obviously. At first I was nervous because I was I don't know anybody here. How am I going to get to know people? But really everybody was kind of in the same boat, traveling alone, so nobody felt uncomfortable if you invited yourself to go somewhere with them. I had a friend doing a walking tour. She was talking about it, and I was oh, can I come with you? And, she didn't. It's very normal to just, in situations like these, to invite yourself to go places, which is not normal for me, but I did get more comfortable with it as we went along, and I ended up being able to see a lot. And that brings me to my final point, get out. There's so much to see, and if you don't step out of your comfort zone and go see those things, you're really going to miss out on a lot that there is. Not only just, building-wise, but you learn a lot about the culture by going around, walking through the city, and getting to know different kinds of people that live there. Really going out and seeing everything that the country has to offer gives you a different perspective. I think a lot of different things had an impact on me, but I think the main one was that how smart the patients really were. On the bottom right there, that's Ana Isabella. She was really good with math. She knew multiplication and division. She loved when we would do math lessons with her, just because she was really good at it. I think another thing that made a big impact on me was, like I talked about in the last slide, wanting to do what the patients wanted to do, but not being able to tell me what they wanted to do. That made an impact on how I look at life, and gave me a big appreciation for what I have and the ability that I have to be able to speak for myself and say the things that I want to do. But I think it also gives me a perspective on people that can't speak for themselves, to just really understand the fact that they're just happy to be with you, and that they are used to not being able to speak for themselves. It's something that they've grown accustomed to in their lifetime, and that they don't take offense if you can't figure out what it is that they want to do. Third, my host family was so incredible. I still talk to them. I've been back for almost a month now, and I do still keep in contact with my host family. They went out of their way to do everything for us to make sure that no matter what, we were comfortable, we had everything we needed, that we were enjoying our time. They really wanted to get to know us. They called us their family. They referred to me as their daughter. They really, really did just go above and beyond. They had such unconditional love for people that they had never met before. And so this is Fernando and Christian. Fernando on the left was in a car accident when he was 30 years old. It paralyzed him from the neck down. He could no longer speak for himself. He used to work in IT. He's very intelligent. He's bilingual. It's really hard to understand him sometimes. These were the two main people that I struggled with the most when it came to wanting to do what they wanted to do. But Fernando really loved to color, and he really loved to watch people color. So we just spent a lot of time doing that. And when it came to Fernando, like, this is another point where it's important to have around-the-clock care. He couldn't adjust himself in his wheelchair, so if he was uncomfortable or if he needed something, it was important that the nurse was readily available so that we could ask her, because he wasn't able to tell me what it was he wanted, but they had their own, like, noises and sounds that they made for her to know what it was that he wanted, which I thought was really cool. And on the right is Christian. Christian has cerebral palsy. He is just the happiest person ever. He gets so excited whenever someone new comes in. He really just enjoys life, no matter how difficult it is. And I think that's a really important take-home message as well, is that just because you don't have everything doesn't mean that you can't enjoy what you do have. And Christian really taught me that it's really important to just be happy no matter what, because, So the things I learned about Costa Rica, being a third world country, I didn't think that education was that important there going into this trip. But what I learned while being there is that education in Costa Rica is actually number 4 in the world, just below the U.S. And I was really surprised by that. But while I was there, I did notice that everyone is going to school all the time. When we took public transportation, half of the people on the bus were students going to college. When I asked my host family about it, they said that Costa Rica actually offers these for free, so a lot of the students can get an education that they wouldn't normally have access to in other places at little or no cost. And then the private universities do cost a little bit, but they are a shorter program, so if you have the money to afford it, that is an option as well. And like, the importance of education is really big in Costa Rica. Even in my host family, you could see the kids weren't in school, but they were studying for what they had upcoming this semester. The 15-year-old had a French class this semester, and he spent every day practicing his French so that he would be prepared for his class that hadn't even started yet, which I thought was really cool. Secondly, I learned that Costa Ricans are very, very generous people. They are willing to do anything for just about anybody.
And finally, I learned that in Costa Rica, family comes first, and it is family there is really important, and that everyone does everything together as a family. A global perspective is important because it opens your eyes. It helps you understand different challenges that you might go through. It helps you relate to different global issues and current events that are happening now. It creates empathies towards different situations, and it helps you gain insight into future career goals. A global perspective influences how we do health because it influences how we find cures, how we share resources with other people, our cultural awareness, so just being aware in different situations as a healthcare provider that might be uncomfortable for some people that are normal to you, and it provides different techniques that we might not think of using, but because they don't have the resources, some places don't have the resources available that we have, it's important to take into consideration the techniques that they use. Costa Rica and the U.S. have quite a few differences. The main one to me was time and attendance. A lot of people in Costa Rica were just late to everything. If they said 2 o'clock, they really meant 3 o'clock, which is hard to get used to, but you kind of just learn when you're there. Secondly, everyone in the country is Catholic, and they do take Catholic holidays very seriously. During the holidays, a lot of local businesses were closed for 2 weeks surrounding Christmas and the Epiphany, which was very strange because you would not see that here in the United States. Tipping is not normal anywhere, and obviously the language is different. They speak Spanish. The rate of income versus the cost of living, minimum wage is about $2 in Costa Rica, but the overall cost of living is similar to that in the United States, which was very surprising to me because it does not give them much room to buy anything. And then finally, the infrastructure on the bottom left right there, that is a pothole in the road, which is very normal to see. But then on the right, they also have these beautiful buildings, as you can see right here. This is the post office in the city, and it's a very beautiful golden building, and so the infrastructure there is beautiful. The similarities that I saw were the diversity. There's a lot of different kinds of people in Costa Rica. They do value education similarly to the United States, and the variety of food. This right here is a typical casado that you would see. This one specifically is on the Caribbean side. On the Pacific side, you would see a little bit different spices and a little bit different setup, but the same idea. I did get to do a lot of traveling. These are the beautiful beaches of Costa Rica: Mamo Antonio, Cahuita, and Tamarindo. These are just 3 of the many that they have. And this is Monteverde. They do have a lot of greenery. Everywhere in Costa Rica is very green. No matter where you go, you'll see greenery on the sides of the roads. just even next to the beach, next to Cahuita. These signs right here, the entrance to the national park that they have there. So yeah, there's a lot of awesome things to do and see in Costa Rica, and I'm really happy that I had this opportunity.